Let's get the thoughts now of Ibon Foundation Executive Director, Sonny Africa, on these issues of sugar importation and RCEP. Thank you so much for joining us, Sonny. Let's start off with the sugar importation issue. Hasn't the Department of Agriculture learned its lesson now importing sugar without a sugar order?
That almost sounds like a rhetorical question. So I have to say, yes, I'm wondering why as well. But I think for us, to connect it to RCEP, it actually goes to show that we really have to get our act in order when it comes to the regulatory authorities of the country. One big reason why people think that it's better to just open up to free trade, open up to competition, is because of exactly these kinds of blunders on the part of regulatory authorities. I think it just highlights we have so much to do to be able to take advantage of international trade. It's too often subverted by narrow interests. I don't know who approved it.
Yeah. But you use a very tame word, Sonny, blunder. I mean, should this importation anomaly or blunder be forgiven? Should it be forgiven? Should it be forgiven? This blunder or anomaly?
No, actually, it really shouldn't. I think precisely the reason why we have such little faith in the government is precisely how some favored traders, because of their contacts in government, whether incorrectly or not, misinterpreting signals. I think precisely this is where a lot of our problem lies. I think it has to be addressed. If we don't actually crack down on these kinds of irregularities and blunders, I think it will just breed more cynicism on the part of the Philippines of what we can expect from government. And if you're cynical about what government can do, we're going to be driven to a corner in terms of surrendering all the possibilities for government intervention to strengthen the sugar industry, to strengthen the local economy. I think it's quite important for real action to be taken against the blunderers, if that's the right word for that.
Well, because acting upon the directive of the executive secretary on what he thought was a sugar order. I mean, it's like a replay, right? Deja vu of the sugar order of the first executive secretary.
I love the term. I think it was Senator Ontiveros who used the term government-sponsored smuggling. I think that's right on point. There is a huge problem here right now. If you don't see the right heads roll, if this is one of those things that sort of gets brushed under the rug, I think that sends a bad signal for what can be achieved through government authority, government regulatory authority.
But Sonny, with or without RCEP, there really remains a lot of problems in addressing our agricultural sector. Like this one, smuggling or alleged smuggling and under-implementation of our programs. But if we join RCEP, I mean, in the wider scale of things, this will also give other industries opportunities for growth.
That's half true. There are opportunities for growth to those who are in opposition to take advantage of those opportunities. Unfortunately, after 30 decades of free trade agreements, not just the WTO, with ASEAN, with Japan and other countries, unfortunately, after 30 years of free trade agreements, 40 years of globalization, domestic capacity in agriculture and industry has been decimated. So when we talk about market access, it's actually market access of foreign locators in the Philippines who can now, have more smoother value chains within their own supply chains. And I think that's a key distinction. Just because it's a foreign investor located in the Philippines doesn't mean you will reap all the benefits from their exporting. It will remain an enclave in the Philippines. It will remain a little cog in their global value chains. It will remain disconnected from the local economy. And I think that's one thing that I think is so frustrating about the RCEP and actually the sugar issue. We need government intervention to make sure that we strengthen agriculture, MSMEs, industry to take advantage of market access abroad. But if they behave so badly, abusing their authorities, undermining all the possibilities for government intervention, it breeds cynicism on the part of what government can do to help the domestic economy. Secondly, it actually breeds corruption and, with all its adverse effects.
But Sonny, should it be shouldn't it be a two-way street? Okay, we have investors coming in, multinational companies. It could only be maybe a fraction of their overall global revenues. But on the other hand, this could also expand market access for the micro, small, and medium enterprises, which will offer more Filipinos jobs, increase incomes, and of course, improve the lives of our kababayans.
No, exactly. I think it should be a two-way street. Unfortunately, if you look at all the trade agreements we've entered into over the last 30 years, it's been a one-way street. Just to take one example, there's always a standard section in free trade agreements called the prohibition of performance requirements on foreign investment. That's actually quite a dangerous section which exists in the RCEP, which exists in GPEPA, which exists in all the other free trade agreements. It basically says when foreign investors come here, we cannot oblige them to transfer technology. We cannot oblige local content. We cannot oblige export and import controls on them. We cannot oblige certain hiring of Filipinos and other things. But the problem is, these are exactly the benefits we should be getting from foreign investment. But by signing on to RCEP and the past agreements that says we prohibit foreign investment performance requirements, we're actually tying our hands to make that a two-way street. In the end, it becomes a one-way street. Foreign investment has poured into the Philippines. We have more foreign investment now than we have ever had as a share of the economy in terms of absolute terms. But we have not developed local industry and not MSMEs, not agriculture, because the government is not supporting it. Sir, one short example. Did you know the MSME budget has been cut in the 2023 budget? So any sort of claims that MSMEs can benefit from RCEP, if they're not capacitated by government support, through cheap loans, through trainings, through what have you about labor productivity, they will not be able to take advantage of these abstract market access conditions.
Well, let's just hope for the best now that it has been ratified by the Philippine Senate. Thank you so much for your insights.
More support for MSMEs and domestic producers. Then we can take advantage of market access. Otherwise, it's a one-way street. We're going to keep heading down this dark path we've been on for the last 40 years.
Ibon Foundation Executive Director, Sonny Africa. Great to have you with us.